Hello, my name is Marshall Talley. This is for William Woods University, EDU503. I'll be arguing the case Sanderson versus Michigan High School Athletic Association. I'll be breaking this case down into different parts. First, I'll argue for the two defendants. Then, I'll argue against them. And then I'll talk about how this case has set precedents later on as an athletic director or athletic associate. I'll start off with the facts. There were two students, Craig and Ron. From an early age, they were diagnosed with mental disabilities. They were held back at an early age, roughly kindergarten, for both of them. Craig, during his middle school years, elementary school years, was held into a self-contained classroom. They both eventually went on to high school and excelled, but being held back at the earlier years hindered their sports career. These two boys participated in cross country for their first 3 years of high school. Michigan High School Athletic Association has the rule that after the age of 19, on September 1st, you may not participate in sports. Well, these gentlemen turned 19 due to being held back at an earlier age. So they took this case to court. The case revolves around the Disabilities Act. Arguing for the courts. The courts allowed an injunction and allowed these two students to run. The court says that Missouri State High School Athletic Association was a public entity. So the one rule that these two students were going against were set up to try to prevent injury and unfair advantage. Well, first of all, these students had shown through a previous court trial that they were able to function and be able to run. The physical examiner also stated that they were not stars. So that goes against that one rule, saying that they can do it and it would not be an unfair advantage. The court also stated, unless the public entity can demonstrate that modifications change the game, which allowing these two athletes who did not make a huge impact on the game, as in winning and earning a championship, and they did not get injured, they did not have to modify the course or anything for cross country. Being a cross country coach, I understand, then they should have been allowed. Also, no public entity shall apply or impose eligibility criteria that screens out a person with disabilities. Well, they were saying since this person could not prevent themselves from being held back earlier because of their mental disability, they're now being hindered for it later on in their high school career. So in saying that, the courts allowed them to compete. The court said that age restriction excludes members of the disabilities. Also, the restriction restricting them from doing cross country was also restricting them from enjoying the program and the fulfillment of the whole program. Arguing against them for the sides of the Missouri State High School Athletic Association, their biggest argument was that in order to allow these two students, and the reason they wouldn't allow them to participate was because of the age restrictions. They were stuck on that. They disagreed on waiving the age law because they were just stuck on that, on waiving the age law. I don't understand why they were stuck on it, but the biggest thing is that they thought that their physical examiner saying that these boys could have done it, and that it wasn't discriminating against just people with disabilities, that everybody had to follow this rule. Well, it was discriminating against these boys because they weren't able to control them being held back when they were younger. So then again, also, I noticed that the Missouri State High School Athletic Association did not fight back much on this case. And so that's why I feel like they were kind of fronting and making, a statement more than not allowing these students to participate, that they were just trying to follow the rules. Is that right? I don't know. This was back in 1994, 1995. So, things have changed from 1995 to 2020. As a cross-country coach myself, I would definitely make sure to address that, and if the student wasn't the main star and it wasn't a cause of injury, then if the student was enrolled in the school, high school or middle school athletics, you should allow them to compete, to continue education on the field. This definitely set a precedence for other ADs and athletic directors in non-contact sports, and ones that are not stars, that are just trying to participate on a smaller interscholastic level that allowed them to. I believe this will have huge impacts in the future as well, and I think it kind of cleared up the loss, and it took a lot of pressure off of state athletic associations not to enforce age restrictions on students with mental and physical disabilities.